Welcome, everybody. It is Friday Night Comics. I'm going to share my screen. Welcome, everybody. Please tell us where you're coming from in the chat. And I will tell you some things about where you are and what we're doing. Let's go full screen. It's Friday Night Comics. It's Friday night where I am, but it's not Friday night everywhere. Some places it's Friday afternoon. Some places it's like late, super late Friday night, early Saturday morning. In some places it's just Saturday morning. Anyway, welcome. That's what we call Friday Night Comics. You're at Sequential Artists Workshop. We really appreciate you being here. We're a 501c3 non-profit and things like that. You can find us at learn.sawcomics.org. We have lots of courses and other things there. Coming soon, the graphic novel development program starts in like a week and a half. I'm not even going to talk about it much because it's pretty much full. Pardon me. Next week, Georgia Weber is coming, although it says Fionn McCabe down below because we didn't change it. But Georgia Weber will be ranting about rectangles. I'm not sure what that means. We're going to scroll through the graphic novel development intensive. Just a couple more days to sign up for that. Terrible Anvil is just about ending. That's the podcast I do with Jess Rollifson. Go check that out. Look on your podcast apps for the Terrible Anvil. There's a little glimpse of it. Okay. Anyway, tuitions and donations. Thank you. If you contributed tonight, it matters a lot. It keeps these things going. It helps us pay the instructors. It helps us keep Saw alive. Thank you so much. There's lots of ways you can help keep things going. I'll put those in the chat and they're on the screen right now. You can become a sustaining member and join our happy family. Okay, let's get moving. No inappropriate speech or imagery, please. No trolling or hate speech. Please keep it PG-13. Share tonight on social media, hashtag Friday Night Comics and at Comics Workshop. And I'll put Finn's at symbol thing in the chat as well. He's Fionn McCabe. You can come to members.sawcomics.org and find out a lot more too. You can also go to Seesaw Comics and see some of our student work, some of our faculty work. In addition, you can find weekly PDFs of the people who've been uploading from these Friday night workshops. They've been really fun. This is from about a month ago, Creepy Crawlies with Beth Hetland, and here's some of the things that people uploaded like that. Anyway, okay, enjoy. Thanks. Let's get on with it. OMG, icons, patterns, and textures. How do I get off of this wonderful screen, which I don't want to get off of, but we got to move on. Finn, I love this for a second, if you don't mind, because I have all of these oh, my screen is all blurred. Well, forget it. But I have all these wonderful, I can do it, forget, I'll show it later. All these wonderful books of yours, including 11 exercises not for horses, which is really wonderful. And I think has a version of this in it. So I'm going to replace Spotlight. There we go.
It does. Yeah.
So anyway, welcome, Finn.
It's lovely to be back. I always love doing these things. As Tom mentioned, it's obviously because the world is round. It's lots of different times for lots of different people. It is 9 o'clock in the morning for me. I am in Sydney on Gadigal Wangal land. Yeah, super excited to be here. Tom, I just wanted to say that I have been loving the Terrible Anvil. It's so good. Yeah. This I think I'll just jump right in because time. So let me just share my screen.
Can I stop you for a second?
Yeah.
For me, your Wi-Fi is slow. I want to see if it is for everyone else. Oh, suddenly you reappeared. Is anyone else having a Wi-Fi problem, or is it maybe just me? If it might be just me. No, saying in the chat. Okay, fine. And I guess you can just go. Maybe I'm the one who's spotty.
I've got full.
Everyone Wi-Fi. Says it's all good. Oh, Tom's
okay.
Wi-Fi is low. I think it's me. Okay, go ahead, Finn. Thanks so much.
Tom, come to my house. Come to my house. That'll be easier. Okay, so I thought I'd share this exercise with you guys today that's called icons, patterns, and textures. And I'll just start by kind of like going through it a little bit. So I kind of developed this exercise because I teach comics at a design school, and a lot of the designers, like I teach visual communication students, and a lot of the visual communication students don't love to draw. and they love making images, but they don't necessarily like comics. So it's been this kind of interesting problem. They're all motivated to engage with the comics principles, but they don't necessarily like to draw. So it took me a little while to try and come up with an approach to let them make comics as designers rather than as cartoonists. So almost to treat images like type or abstraction, or like they would kind of plan motion graphics or other kinds of visuals. So that's kind of where this is coming from. And to start, I thought I'd just read a few comics to give you some idea of what I'm talking about. So anyone have an idea what this is? You can just throw it in the chat if you want. I'll go a little closer so you can kind of see it more clearly. So this is actually me. It's me. It's a portrait of myself. And I'm on the moon. And now I'm riding a horse. But the horse is having trouble breathing. Now the horse is dead. Because space is no place for horses. Now, I'm not some. I love horses. I promise no horses were harmed in the making of this comic. But none of these things look literal, right? Like the moon doesn't actually look like that, and a horse doesn't look like this, and breathing doesn't look like those little marks around the horse. But one of the things I find really magical about comics is that you can kind of represent anything with anything else. And as long as you give people enough information to follow the story with you, the way that you're representing things, as long as there's a kind of logic to it, the reader will just go along with you. They want to follow it. They want to invest and understand the logic. So like, you know, a horse can look like a worm, and a moon can look like a bit of a cookie. A triangle can be a bird. An umbrella can be a vehicle. A cat can be a washing machine. As long as you're giving the reader enough information to make sense of it, they'll just come with you. So here's another little example. This is an autobiographical piece. That's me.
Uh-oh.
Blah. So you can see, right, that anything can kind of be anything as long as you include enough of a lead, right? You're kind of leading people along with the logic. But this exercise is really about taking a kind of simple idea or a simple story and breaking it down and representing it in a slightly less literal way. I'm not particularly strong with abstraction, but I found that teaching this material has given me some other tools to visualize that I wouldn't naturally do. I naturally want to draw people. I want to draw things more literally, even though I draw in a very kind of scrappy style. So yeah, the goal here is to take an action like this, where, you know, someone's just doing the laundry, using their cat or whatever, and then basically whatever the story is, to come up with icons, patterns, and textures that represent the visual components of the story, right? So here's that same thing again, basically, and here's some little icons that I've created. So here's doing the laundry again. I have a friend who's constantly trying to get me to make Garfield comics. I feel like today is the first success story in that long road. So this is kind of what we're doing today, right? We're gonna take a little story and come up with icons, textures, patterns to kind of represent that. Now I need to skip some slides because I had one more story to read, but I think we'll just jump right into it. Let's just jump right in. So hold on, let me just share my screen again. Sorry, guys. Okay. So that's kind of the plan. So to start with, we're just going to do a little bit of writing. And I think you can really write about anything, but we kind of want to keep it pretty short given the time frame. But I was thinking like a childhood fear or a vivid moment from childhood or a moment that kind of changed your mind or gave you a new understanding, but something small, a moment of joy or surprise. I always really vividly remember this story from like I think it was a Ray Bradbury book, where when he was writing about like like a kid who was wrestling with a friend, and at some point during wrestling, he realized that his friend was thinking totally different thoughts than he was, and he had this like moment of clarity where he was like, oh my god, every single person is their own universe with their own thought streams. Does anyone remember this story? I can't remember what book it is, but I remember that so strongly. It wasn't like, it wasn't some epic action that this kid was engaged with. It was just wrestling with a friend, and it had the result. What was
It's
it?
Dandelion Wine.
Yes. Do you remember this scene, Tom? This
Crystalline Wait brought it up. I read it ages ago, but maybe Crystalline can tell us more in the chat.
I just remember it so vividly. I don't remember the rest of the book, but that one moment, I love that this small action or this small moment resulted in something that felt really big. So, like, you can choose whatever you want, but I kind of am looking for like when I'm going to be doing this, I'm going to be looking for like something small, some small action or some small moment that feels like it has some meaningful ending or revelation. Yeah, so maybe we'll do that. And we'll just, wow, that's a very blurry shot. Hopefully yeah, there we go. Uh, we'll just take kind of maybe a couple of minutes just to jot down some ideas and then write a paragraph based on that idea.
Awesome. Okay. I'm putting that in the chat. It's already in the chat once, but I'll put it in there too. Are we going to watch you write? I love that. That's pretty exciting.
That feels weird. Maybe that feels a little that's like high pressure. Maybe I'll go back to this instruction just for this, and then when we get to the drawing of the overhead will be set. Is that cheating? Maybe that's cheating.
No, that's fine. I'm looking for. So that's all in the chat as well. Are you timing it?
No, I really should be. I'll give us another 3 minutes.
Okay. Maybe 2.5. Let's see.
Okay. Sorry.
No, it's all right. I always just like it to keep it snappy. Anyway, let me stop distracting myself. Probably about 30 seconds left, Finn, don't you think?
Yeah, that sounds about right.
Okay.
Whenever I have to do an exercise, I realize that no one has enough time.
We love deadlines.
Sometimes an anvil can be too terrible, Tom.
Oh, yeah, you go. Oh, I'm not sure that's true. All right. I think we're
Okay.
definitely all right. People can keep going, you know.
All right. Excuse my horrible handwriting and probably it's chock full of misspellings. But okay, what I've got is this story. My brother and I used to play in a little cubby house at our neighbors. There was a little tree next to the cubby house, and one day Sean climbed up the tree until he was level with the power lines.
Oh.
He pretended to reach out and grab them, and I freaked out. I was screaming and sobbing, begging him not to touch them. But because I was freaking out, he decided to do it. And he reached out and he grabbed the power line, and nothing happened. That's as far as I've thought through this thing. But now what I'm going to do is I'm going to just go through and highlight the things that I think I might want to visualize. So objects, landscape, people, even feelings, things that you might want as a visual element in the piece. And I'm just going to go through and I'm going to highlight them in what I've written. Obviously, what I've written will change when I go to make it a comic, because yeah, this is not the most economical writing I've ever done. Then once you've highlighted the elements you want to include in the comic, then create a little icon or a pattern or a texture for each of those things. Keep them really simple, again, because of time. And I would lean into being non-literal and abstract. I really struggle with this, but I think thinking about abstraction, just making interesting shapes, and just thinking about mark making. So that's kind of the plan. And maybe we'll take another 4 minutes for this. Does that sound all right, Tom?
Yeah, it sounds long. I might like go down to the tavern and have a beer in that time. But okay. No.
I'll start the timer now.
Oh, a timer. Okay. So it's in the chat. We're making patterns, icons, and textures of the things we feel are visual enough that we want to visualize from our paragraph. And some of us didn't write as densely as you. Some of us just wrote a sentence or two, but there's plenty, probably. Or we could write really fast.
I mean, you really don't need that much text, right? And recombining images can be really interesting. Kind of zooming in and out, or morphing something. Yeah, you don't really need much.
I realized that one of my words is yelling, even though it's not something you normally visualize. But like you did breathing and you visualize that. So I think I'm going to try and visualize. Is that a good idea?
Yeah, I've got screaming, sobbing, begging on here, which makes this sound like it's going to be a real annoying thing to draw. But I think that like sometimes that stuff can I don't know, gives me access to abstraction in a way that when I'm trying to draw literal stuff, I just kind of run into a barrier.
Yeah, let's
So
see.
then once you know what you want to make, just start making some little icons. Yeah, just leaning into shape and abstraction and mark making.
I think I'm being too literal, but we'll see how it goes.
Me too.
Then again, a little literalness is good, right? Because when you abstracted that washing machine, it was this like gaping hole, and it was really had a great
Yeah,
effect,
and
you know?
I think too, like this really is just about finding new shapes or new ways to draw rather than totally reinventing. It's
Mm.
not an exercise in abstraction, it's an exercise in kind of pushing the way that things can be represented. Um, yeah, like I said, I have a real difficulty coming up with these kind of on the fly. You can already see my tree isn't very abstract here. But yeah, I think if you're pushing yourself in that way, it can give you access to something a little different, maybe.
And I realize a lot of us have probably people in our story too, right? So like I just realized
Mm.
we is one of my words, and I should figure out what the people look like, me and my friends or whatever. I'm not doing patterns, I'm only doing icons.
Yeah, I reckon that's totally fine. However it shakes out, you know?
I'm trying to put some patterns in. It's fun because one of mine is spilled soda, but I drew it all hairy. Kind
All right.
of fun. I think, are we at our limit? I think we're at our limit.
Yeah, we're at time. I'm just not done, Tom. I'm just not done. All right, we've got some idea though, right? So the next step of this thing is basically I think I drew half of what I actually needed. So I'm really gonna have to simplify when it comes to actually drawing. Um, so the next thing is basically I'm going to use narration, I think, because I think narration, especially the more abstract I get, the more I lean on narration just to contextualize things, I think. You don't have to. It can be totally just a kind of like loose abstract experiment or doesn't have to have text. But my plan, I think, is to basically tell that story as narration or dialogue and combine those icons, patterns, and textures in the panels to tell that story. I found it can be helpful to think about like zooming in and out of those things, combining them, so a texture overlapping an icon or a pattern interacting in some way. It can also be nice to kind of just isolate them or create transitions. Like I think this exercise is more successful when it's a starting point rather than a rigid set of rules that you can't break as you go. So I
Mm.
think if you're starting with kind of icons, patterns, and textures, and just allowing things to develop as they need to, that can be I think a helpful way to start. Any questions or anything? I'm not looking at the chat, but
Um,
any questions?
Nothing major. The things in the chat I'm handling, minor ones. But I think we're ready. And I copied down what was on your screen. So one person asks, are there a maximum number of panels? Anything you recommend? We do a lot of
No, I think
comics here for what it's worth, but
yeah, I'm aiming for kind of 4 to 6, I think.
okay.
And I'm going to work on post-it notes just to make it easy. If I screw up, I can crumple it up and throw it away. But yeah, however you want to work. I think given the time frame, it's just whatever you can get done. So I think I can probably manage 4 to 6. Um, yeah,
And
and we'll maybe take 15 minutes. Does that sound all right, Tom?
that sounds right.
Yeah,
So
cool. These are such quick sessions, guys.
you
I'm
know,
always
we burn
whenever I
through
work with you guys, I'm so impressed by like how quickly you accomplish work.
well, two things. First of all, everyone is great. Second of all, it's only the first couple people that are ready, and then everyone is sort of slowly finishing up in the end,
Okay, I see. I
and then ready to share a little bit more. So,
see.
but we're we bring your teachers on to help us get to the core of things, and we really appreciate it. Anyway, I got to draw my thing.
Okay, cool. I'll set a timer for 15 then.
Okay, and we're gonna watch and let us know every I'll do it too. I got a timer. I'll mention it every like 4 or 5 minutes. And we want to see you draw
You can
too.
probably, even if we don't mention it, you'll probably see just sweat starting to kind of ooze out of my face, and the kind of wetter I look, the closer we are to that kind of 15-minute deadline.
Another abstraction. Um, all right. Oops. You know, Finn, you mentioned something on your screen. It said create panels using your icons, patterns, and textures. And I don't know if you meant that literally, like the borders of the panels would be that way, or if that was just how it was worded. But do you do that ever? Do you make your panel borders in non-traditional or
I
patterny way?
have I have to say I'm very uncreative with layout, and um I think because like there's so many things to consider when you're making a comic, that sometimes I just like cut some options off,
Mhm.
and playing with the way that I'm doing the panels is often one of the things that gets cut. um yeah, so usually I'm just kind of like, not trying not to think about that part so I can focus on something in particular. And I think it's probably just a lack of imagination on my part.
I like how the icons and patterns and things can change too. Like one panel, then the next panel they get maybe looser or something. I don't know if that happens with you.
Absolutely, yeah. And already the what I had kind of thought was going to happen is changing, you know? I
Yeah.
think that for me, it's a part of the fun is laying some groundwork and then allowing things to change.
Mm.
Um, I think without that, I find making comics a lot less exciting.
This is crazy. I never do this. My people look like flowers, making me think I'm
Yeah.
king. What's going on? My brain, my literal brain is like, no, stop it.
Yeah, I find it really hard, this thing. But I also like I admire so many people that work in a more abstract way. And so I found it really satisfying to try and push myself in that way. And when I get it, when I kind of fall into a space where I enjoy it and it starts to feel a little have a bit more flow, it's such a pleasurable thing to not have to worry about things looking exactly the way that they do in real life, you know?
Mhm. Oh, I haven't been keeping track of the time. Let's see, 28 after. So it's been
Got about
6 minutes, right? It's been about 6 minutes.
Yeah, we've got about 9 minutes left.
Is that your cubby house there?
Yeah, yeah, exactly. And the tree. You know what else I like about post-it notes? Look, I don't work for post-it note, but you can cover things up and trace things. Like they're such a kind of cheap material that you can see right through them to fix things. Or I always end up just pulling the sticky bit off and putting it over if I screw up my text. My God, 6 minutes.
That all that's left?
Yeah.
Doing great. Doing great. Everybody's doing great. And a serious question, did you ever see a book by Molly Bang called How Pictures Work?
Yes, I love that book.
Okay, great book.
Yeah. Made my little brother look like an old man for some reason.
Mhm. So let's see, we started at 20, it's only been 11 minutes. So we're 11 minutes in, we have 4 more minutes. Oh, I love that tree. It's like a, I don't know, some sort of weird Lego.
As I'm drawing this, I'm realizing that the forms that I picked, I like understand them better as I draw them and how
Uh-huh.
flexible I want them to be. I like this much more than I like that. This
Oh,
feels
yeah. How
much more
blobby.
interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, looks less like my dad and more like it could be someone young. Um, yeah, I
It's
think
also its own kind of, it's got a cohesion that maybe isn't in the first iteration.
yeah, it feels like a more much more expressive shape, even though it's like it's still kind of it has a kind of human form, but it's also yeah, it feels much more compelling visually to me. And like I can get some gesture out of it in a way that I couldn't before.
I'll be going in for a sort of standard sort of, I don't know what kind of line that is for that touching symbol. Or, oh no, those are trees. Wait, I don't know. You tell me. Is that tree shape behind it? The sort of,
This guy
no,
or this one
no, below that. The
here?
cloud. No, no, never
This?
mind. Yeah, that.
Yeah, that's I was thinking like the danger of the power line.
Oh yeah, okay. It feels, yeah, it
Yeah,
feels like that.
it's pretty standard, hey? I'm cheating. Look, I'm cheating, guys. It's,
What's
you really
cheating?
called me. You really called me out, Tom.
No, no, no. It's great. It looks like it has such a nice composition. Um,
We've got 20 seconds left.
and Sherry is asking, are the post-it notes easier to do your panels on? And it sounds like you said that they are. They allow a lot of flexibility, right?
Yeah, like what I just did, where I just stuck this one over the other one to get to grab the composition,
Mm.
and just change one piece, right? So it ends up, um, I think I sometimes lean a bit too hard on that because it's nice and easy, but it can be a way to just change one thing or set up a comparison or repeat a composition without having to redraw the whole thing or and try to make it look the same. You have some guidelines underneath. This is probably a little bit maybe I mentioned it in a previous workshop, but I end up doing a lot of even finished comics just as post-it notes, and then scanning them in and cleaning them up a little bit, because I like to add zero pressure when I work. I just want it to be kind of fun and flexible and enjoyable.
We love that. Hey, Finn, will you do me a favor right now?
Yeah.
And that is raise your Zoom hand. I'm going to raise my own Zoom hand too. Usually there's an icon that
Oh
says,
yeah.
and don't let Zoom unraise it. It might.
His hand. There we go.
Cool.
It's like we're high-fiving, Tom.
Right. I think there might be a high five icon. Are you continuing to draw? Is that story going?
Yeah, I was going to do one more panel, but we're kind of out of time. Does anyone else need like maybe 2 minutes?
Two minutes would be.
Is that pushing it, Tom?
One person says, "I got it iotally." I don't know what that means. Oh, and I'm ready to share. Oops.
Okay, cool.
Cool. Except I just did something weird to my screen. There we go. Oh yeah, people are. You are. I got to remove your spotlight. Let's see. I got all sorts of weird things. Are you still sharing, Finn? I think you might still be sharing or something, or maybe it's just me.
I don't think so, but no, I don't think so.
Maybe it's me. I'm having way more logistic issues than usual. Why am I full screen? Wait, I got to get out of full screen. This is really bugging me. It looks like
Do you want
I'm
to share yours, Tom, and I'll add one more panel to mine.
But I can't see. All I see is, oh, never mind. It looks like I'm sharing. I don't know. What do you see on the screen right now, Finn? Anyway, we got a lot of people who want to share. You do? Okay.
Yeah.
I want to share too because I had so much fun, but there's too many people. I'll go last if there's time, but I don't think there will be. I will put things in my chat. Second to manage this. I don't know why I'm suddenly. Somebody's gonna have to tell me in the chat what I did wrong. This is so weird. Anyway, whatever. Okay, so here's what we got. I see Jen, I see Gail, Emily, Marlene, who says goatee, Umi. So anyway, we'll just go in that line. I'm sorry if I seem a little scrambled. My Zoom screen just looks a little weird, but I'll manage. I see Stefan Gruber. Okay, well, so we'll go to Jen. Jen, show us what you've got. There we go.
Hello, how are you? Happy Friday.
Hey.
Okay, so I had started with two memories. One of like how hard it was for me to want to climb into my bed because of the huge gap between the floor and the bed and just fear of like being grabbed. And then I realized a stronger memory was actually of the day I lost my toenail. So riding home from a friend's house, I took a shortcut by the cemetery. There was a sharp, broken sidewalk, and the edge slipped under my foot, my toenail, and flipped it off. Two kind people called my mom, and I got a tetanus shot as a 10th birthday present for my father.
What you always wanted.
Oh, let me tell you. My dad was a doctor, and like literally I was in my bed, my butt was sticking out, and he jabbed the needle in it. It was just, yeah, that was my memory.
I'm taking my son to a birthday party later, and I'm now reconsidering the toy that I got. I should just be a tetanus thing.
Okay, we'll go to Gail next.
Thank you.
Okay, wow, that's going to be hard to follow up. So I'm not going to tell you my story yet because I don't want to spoil the story. But here are the shapes that I came up with. This is my Malibu Barbie, which I got when I was about 10. This is a beach. These are the waves, and this is me. So the story is called On a Beach in Florida with Malibu Barbie. There's Malibu Barbie, there's the beach, there's the waves. I didn't really understand the ocean yet when I was 10, and the waves kept getting closer and closer. Uh-oh. No skipper. I only had one Barbie. That was it, just one Barbie. Okay, so the waves keep getting closer and closer. Oh no, Barbie's gone. She's taken by the waves. That's my face. But oh. Okay, wait, there's a spoiler there. Okay. I cried a lot. But as I said, I didn't really understand the ocean, and I didn't understand that what the ocean took, the ocean would return. Barbie! Oh, thank God. I just want to say, Finn, this was a great workshop. I really agree that like loosening up, like I didn't know what my Barbie was gonna look like, and it just seemed like, okay, I'll just make a squiggle. And then
Yeah.
it sort of turned into Barbie. You know, I put her bathing suit on her and there she was.
Can I just say that yeah, the shape of Barbie that you made was so good. And also that the layers of waves, that image is so great. Because you get the, like, it's not literal, but you totally get the rhythm of waves and the ocean. That's so lovely.
And you're right that it just like frees you up in a way, you know, like it was just so very freeing. So this was great. Thank you so much.
Oh, cool. Oh, thanks.
Wonderful, Gail. Thanks. We'll go to Emily, then Marlene, then Umi. Here we go.
Cool. This was really fun. I'll share screen in a second, but I did sketch in my
Oh, you're blurry like I
look.
was.
Oh, it's blurred. I mean, it's nothing much.
Change your
But
video.
I wound up here, I'll share. I wound up like doing this whole, I have to unblur myself. I did a whole post-it note thing. Okay, I'll unblur. I did a whole post-it note
Spirit.
thing.
Nice.
And then I took a picture of it and I put it in Photoshop, or actually Krita. These are my sketches. It's really dark in here, but you can
Nope.
see like a blobby horse. Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
But I'll show the real. Oh, should I screen share? I should also, I don't have to.
Oh, Emily, we can change it. Go ahead. I just set it up for you.
Oh, okay. So, oh, can you see everything? I'll read it. My mom was a horseback riding instructor. I was always wandering around the stables. One day I saw a horse being euthanized with no warning. I looked in its eyes. It looked at me. I ran crying, and I hid under the bleachers. So I thought of that because you talked about that dead space horse. So
I'm so sorry. Yeah.
that's okay.
When I went, I brought no horses, so that was not. Yeah, this is obviously like a real thing.
A real
Um,
death.
These are great. Such a good story.
But yeah, it was really fun.
Thanks, Emily.
Great story.
We'll go to Marlene
I
next.
mean, very sad story also, but
Yeah.
Yeah, hi everybody. Particularly Tom, I haven't seen you in a while.
Yeah, Marlene, welcome back. It's nice to see you.
Yeah, thank you. And Fionn, I have to agree with you that both Gail and Emily's work was wonderful, the narrative that they brought in. And so, yeah, it's just great to be back. And what I've chosen as a theme in terms of objects,
You might have to
I
change
just
that setting, Marlene.
yeah, I've got to make it more clear. I thought it was. So let's see if that's better. That better?
yeah. Oh my God, you colored it. How do you have time?
I go very fast. So my theme is being open-minded from my childhood. I grew up in a middle-class family not very much, but I used to immerse myself in my dad's glossy magazines. And to me, success meant a lovely house. Oh yeah, the icon, the cross on the roof to me was special, Fionn, because I thought, yeah, like symbolic of my faith. Everything will be good. I'll have a house, a car, a boat at the back you can see. Well, it's a little bit fast forwarding my life to having turbines at the back and solar panels on the roofs and a Lamborghini in the backyard. So yeah, those are like the dollar signs in my eyes when I was younger. The next panel is a relationship I noticed in the corporate world where executives on board level would shake hands over big deals like mining magnates and the likes of Elon Musk and so on. And that to me represented success. Notice they both are wearing Armani suits, a very expensive smartwatch, and some patterning there to indicate the networking within the corporate world. And then I chose a character, a mouse, as you can see. Think of it what you will, but it says trapped. In other words, if you do not watch out, you can get trapped and snapped. This spring, of course, is squashing the poor mouse, who now gives up, and its tail isn't all wagging, it's sort of curly. And then to the right is a bottle of some substance, all the choking events of life, I guess. So there's a lot of imagery in that one. And then guess what happens? If you take all that on board, then you start to feel unwell, like the little mouse. Its tail is curled up. I purposely drew the alimentary canal being clogged up, some stripes on its back, like a tiger, I guess. Although it's on its back, it's still fierce and can bite. And finally, I came to a billboard and I thought, well, how do I lace all of these things together? And you can see at the bottom there, I drew a sort of a progressive line with an arrow. And it basically refers to the only followers you are interested in are the runners behind you. And that's what I wrote on the billboard. And guess what? If you make choices that benefit everyone, it says there, hope for free. So, you can have everything for free. So, yeah, Fionn, that's what I came up with today.
That is a wild amount of content for 20 minutes. That's nuts. There's so much interesting symbolic, so many symbolic visuals in there. Really, really interesting.
Wonderful, Marlene. Thanks so much.
Thank
Nice
you, Tom and Fionn, for the
right.
opportunity.
We'll go to Umi next, and then Sarah, then Kathy. Let's see. Here we go.
Hello. So this is not so much about my own story, but it is about my father. And my father is at one point he said he's a transgendered, and we don't use pronouns, so we've never discussed about the he, she, they pronouns. So I go with he pronoun. So when he was in the 1960s, he wanted to figure out what kind of a woman he wanted to be or he wanted to model. And then like when I was a child, like I only listened to him talking about 5 different kinds of women, including my mother. Like she's a kind. So I don't know what it was, but then there is this story of a Quaker woman, presumably a nun, at the rally he met. So I did a Quaker woman and a piece of baguette he shared with with her, and a woman whose thighs and legs were so thick, and he thought that like, oh, she wouldn't be embarrassed, but she wasn't. And so there's like a game changer for him to figure out like what it was. And also the Quaker woman, after he shared a baguette, she screwed her hands into the baguette and toss every white part. And so I wanted to make a story, well, not a story, but like a scene of it. So this is a baguette laying down. It looks like a sausage, a baguette. And the people at the rally, of course, I wasn't there in the 60s, so I don't know. And of course, I don't think the Quaker nun had that oatmeal hut. I don't know how to call it. But this is like the imagery of her hand, her hairy hand. Presumably, this person is an American person from Northeast or somewhere, and like going in like kind of violently. And my father explained about this scene, and it was a horror for my father. And then there's another woman whom I talked about, a woman who has really spare lip type of really thick thighs, and he thought like, oh, you would look miserable as a woman. But on contrary, like she was so proud. She was smoking constantly. And she was like, oh, miniskirt came into my generation. I'm so happy. I'm so liberated. And there's like tossed baguette and cigarettes. So that's one scene. Thank you.
Wow, thank you.
Oh,
That that's it's so visceral, that the idea of someone reaching into a baguette and pulling out all of this soft bread is like such a wildly vivid visual.
yeah, they do it in a lot of cultures. Get rid of that soft stuff. All right, we'll go to Sarah next.
Okay, I might stand up, otherwise I can't see and hold it up at the same time. So this is a time from my childhood. So one time when the capelin were rolling, my family went down to the beach to watch. And these are the waves that are more fish than water. We caught a capelin in a plastic bucket. Oh, can I hold it right? I wanted to fry it up and eat it. My sister wanted to keep it as a pet. We let it go in the sea.
Really great.
Cool. Again, like, I don't know, I love that first image too. And you managed a whole kind of arc. It feels like a very like complete moment, you know?
Great, thank
Cool.
you.
Thanks, Sarah. Yeah, I love that first image too. We'll go to Kathy next, then Lauren. There we go.
Hey all. This is great. And I've been watching your abstract comics on Instagram, Finn, and the one you did about Kobe dying, gutting. And I'm going to put it in the chat for folks because it's just really, it's something. But I thought I would tell you I was going to do that before I did it. So spoiler alert. Anyway, so this is what I have. See if I can read it upside down. The day after my mom died, 6 years ago today, I went into the woods to find the lady slippers, her favorite flower. And it was in full bloom. So this is me. That was my attempt at me grieving right there with the lady full bloom. And then I always walked in the woods with my dog, George. A week earlier, the lady slippers were closed, not ready to blossom, waiting. And then the last one says, to help my mom ascend.
It's such a beautiful poetic piece.
Thank you.
You know, it's interesting. I feel like the less, I mean, there's still kind of a nod to the literal, but it feels like, I think because it's a little bit abstracted, like it adds to the kind of poetic feel of it. I think if there was clearly a person and clearly the woods, like it would have such a different tone, you know?
Yeah.
Thanks.
Beautiful. Thanks so much, Kathy.
You bet.
Thank you.
Thanks.
I also love the dog portrait behind you.
Oh, yeah. I wish I'd said I had done it, but no, but it's great.
Great.
Awesome.
Thank
We'll
you.
go to Lana next. Hey there. Welcome.
Hi. I don't know why mine comes up backwards.
Forwards for us.
You're good. Yeah, you're good.
It's forwards for us. You're good.
It is forward for you? Okay,
Yeah.
it just makes it hard for me to read. But I understood you to say, you know, write a paragraph first and then highlight the words you're going to use as symbols. So I did that. This is the paragraph I wrote. The two brothers sneak into the living room just in time to see Santa jump out of the fireplace covered in ashes and rips in his clothes. And here are the symbols for those particular words: brothers, sneak, Santa, the rips in the clothes, and the living room. So here is the finished story. And you can see the two brothers sneaking into the living room. Santa popping out of the fireplace, covered in soot and ripped clothes, and have a merry Memorial Day.
That's so great. It's like not, I think like something that's so lovely is it's not how I work, but it absolutely works. Like it's almost yeah, it becomes like a symbolic language.
Yeah.
Which is really interesting. Yeah, that's a great story.
It's a fun exercise. Enjoyed it.
Thank you. I love how that last one looks like a donut or something, you know, or a pastry. Thank you so much. Nice to see you, Lauren. All right, Nina. Go to Nina next. Can you unmute? Did I give you that option yet? Let me see. There we go. You should be able to do it now, Nina.
Thank you. Okay, Fionn, this is great. I struggle with being abstract, which is ironic because my parents were both abstract expressionist artists. I wanted to do comics when I was a kid because I wanted things to be real. So I'll just start off. These were the symbols that I came up with originally, and then the story. So I was afraid of elevators. So my brother David pushed all the buttons in the Sheraton hotel. I thought we'd get stuck between the floors, but we didn't. It was okay, thanks to my pesky brother. So that's where I went with this. If I had more time, I think I could have gone more in a George Harriman, who I adore, his surreal sort of abstraction. But one page, and this is all I could do right now.
It's they're very vivid moments though. Like they really capture each stage in the story. Yeah, that third image is like fills me with kind of dread.
That's how I felt.
Yeah.
And the buttons, because he pushed every single one, so we had to stop for every single floor. And there were probably like 20 floors in the hotel. And if you'll notice, there's no 13 because the hotels back then, there was never a 13th floor. You just went from 12 to 14. Anyway, thank you so much.
It was just a gap in the building. It was just one floor would hover above the other one.
It was the floor that John Malkovich lived on. That crazy movie. I can't remember what that was, but thank you.
Thanks, Nina. Tell us how you're doing in the chat. How you doing? All right, we'll go to Tina next. Or Tara, sorry.
Yada. Hello. Let's see if this will work. Sorry, it's got all of my notes on there. So I had a story about putting my little brother in the washing machine. So there's like weird space and stuff because of the beginning stuff, and oh gosh, I'm not really explaining this very well. Anyway, here we are. I made the washing machine like a spacecraft because my memory is that he wanted to go in there, like it was going to be like a ride. Like, yeah, he's very happy. And so me and my other brother put him in. He's very happy. Look at him.
Uh,
And then we're like, oh, like we immediately realized we'd done something really, really, really bad and stopped it. Like it was this kind of I was way too old to have done that. I should have known that it was going to be really, really bad, but like, yeah.
This was
Sorry, it was
this
the
was
washing
earlier in the
machine.
week.
It's the
wasn't it?
dryer. It was the dryer. Yeah.
That's it's a little bit, it's marginally better.
Marginally better, but yeah, no, it's not. It wasn't. It wasn't.
I
it
really
wasn't good.
love that you made the dryer into the rocket, right? Like that
Okay.
I don't know. I think when one shape can be another and comment on the way that people are seeing it or the way that people feel about something is so great.
Awesome.
Yeah, cool.
Thanks so much, Tara.
It's also Tara and I are Tara, you're going to Comic Art Workshop. Yeah.
Yeah, we're
Tara
going to Comic
are,
Art.
are taking part in a
Oh,
residency. This
is that
first
the
time
big
I've seen you.
That's the big thing. How
Um,
wonderful. Amazing.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's so exciting.
You have to tell us more about
Yeah.
that at the end of the call, Finn.
Cool.
Okay, we'll go to Bharati next. Here we go.
Hi, so I really enjoyed this prompt, and I would like to share my screen.
Okay, let me give you that option. Hang on a second. There you go.
It is a really like short story, and like first three panels don't even have any words. It's just my memory when I was a kid and my mom was pregnant with my brother. And when she was admitted to a hospital, I had this fear, like, where is she? Like, why I'm not with her? And like the last panel, I'm just like losing my shit. It's like, what if she just never comes back? Like, what if I don't get to see her again? Because like I was, like around 5 years old, so I was like, I don't know what is happening, and how am I going to be back with her.
That third panel is so beautiful. It's like such a packed, clear, simple panel.
I agree. I love that third panel so much. Thanks so much, Bharati.
Thank
we'll go
you.
we'll go to Shiva next. I might have to.
Hi.
Here we go.
So this is the story about when I was, I think, 7 or 8 years, and my mom bought me a cake. And here's my mom, and it's me, and the cake that she gave to me. And the story is like she's saying that I bought you something, and I was so excited. And a cake that has a chocolate power and the star on it, and I was so excited about it. And she said that how it tastes like, and I was like, it tastes sweet but a little bitter. Yeah.
That cake image is so good.
Thank you.
Really
I'm so glad you like it.
It really lends itself to making great cartoon characters, doesn't it, Finn? This exercise,
Thank you so much. Yes.
Thank you, Shiva. We'll go to Chris next.
Thanks, Tom and Finn. I guess I lost the relationship between simple and abstract, so I went with simple shapes. When I was a kid, I went to Mexico and was on the beach. And the clouds came in and covered up the sun, and the wind started blowing. The wind picked up the beach and sandblasted me with it. And I didn't realize the beach could hurt so much. So I wrapped myself in a towel and became a safety burrito. And what I didn't remember is that as a kid, I remember having this big impression, but I didn't remember until like 10 minutes ago that mashed potatoes was what I was thinking of as a kid, that I thought the sand was going to turn my body into mashed potatoes. I didn't remember that until after I'd drawn this whole thing. So anyway, thanks very much.
Isn't that a lovely perk of exploring a memory? That like when I sit down to draw or sit down to think about something as a story, very often I find quite visceral, clear memories that I totally didn't know were in there, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember this. I had a similar thing happen. I went to a beach during it was like just before a hurricane, actually. And just to see what the beach was like, I was with my whole family, and there was just this wall of sand flying around on the beach. And it was like within about 10 feet, you could put your arm into it and it would just sting like crazy. It was wild.
Yeah. Thanks.
Burrito. All right. Thanks, Chris. Go to Jackie next. And then Walter, then Nancy.
A couple extra panels. When I was, there's the me. I got like very not literal with a lot of these shapes. So
yeah.
I'm glad we had the narrative there. When I was very young, so young that my parents were still together, I went through a period where when the lights went out in my bedroom, I would see visions of witches and spiders on the wall. I screamed in the darkness. Rare gesture of paternalness, my father came to comfort me. Mommy stayed in bed. Anyway, that got me sent to my first therapist.
There's something like this. I think the first 4 panels feel like they're just really powerful. I feel like you really nailed the thinking in this this exercise and really married the emotional stuff with the way that you've kind of like with the visuals that you've invented for this. Yeah, I love that 3rd panel.
Thank you. I could I mean it could function just even as, the first 4 and then that's
totally. Yeah. Yeah, it really changed the tone when it ends in a kind of comedic place, but those first 4 panels are so intensely emotional. Yeah, very cool.
Thank you.
That's a great joke.
Thanks, Fionn.
Thanks, Jackie. I love panel 2.
Oh, this one?
Yeah, I love it.
The little one. Thank you.
That's a good reminder, everybody, to share on social media, and also I'm going to put the PDF upload link in the chat. Walter, if you're there, come on screen so we can spotlight you. Then we'll go to Nancy and then Susanna. There's Walter.
So this is a memory that I actually wrote a long, detailed essay about some time ago, but the short version here is my 13-year-old sister and 11-year-old me babysitting my infant nephew had a very long, hot walk home. And it's a 1-panel, 1 page. We were saved by a leaky fire hydrant.
Oh, great.
Water
that fire is perfect.
Yeah. I love that fire hydrant.
Yeah. Well, there's in animation, I teach a bit in animation, and there's a thing we're always talking about, the appeal of an object or appeal of a shape. The appeal of that fire hydrant is very high. Yeah.
Well, Nina mentioned wanting to draw because that's why we do cartooning, is to draw things real. But this was really good, trying to move away from that and get more presentational rather than representational. So thanks, Fionn.
Nice.
Yeah, cool. Oh, cool.
Thanks, Walter. See you later. Going to Nancy next, Suzanne after that, and Gabriel.
Hi. I didn't really get the abstract icon deal until later, but I had fun, so that's the most important thing.
Good.
So this is a childhood story. So let's see, I have it written down I hope you can see it. One day we had a substitute teacher. I was about 10 and definitely not a bold or rebellious kid, but I might have been one of the ringleaders who got everyone in the class to give the sub a hard time by stomping our feet hard and fast in unison. So let's see, I think that goes to here, and then we're going down here, and it says, it was near the end of the school day. The sub had clearly had enough of us, and she shut down the stomping with some kind of veiled threat. Everyone stopped. Everyone stopped. Then, and the timing was kind of important on this, then I decided to do one final solo stomp. I saw the teacher's face and I knew I was in deep shit. I don't remember what happened next. I think her name was Mrs. Alden. And two things that I sort of learned while doing this or thought about later was the shoes. You know, I could have done, I felt like I could really get into those little kids' shoes because I'm a baby boomer and we had such limited shoe choices as children. I love what the shoes that little girls get to wear now, but we just had like those white Oxford shoes, and then maybe dress up would be black patent leather Mary Janes. And the guys, I think, might have just had one pair of shoes. There were no options, fashion options. And also, I think that the thing that scared me the most was myself. Like, I wasn't like that. That was really out of character. And it's just like this inner demon took over and just decided to stomp. And I like that. But that's what was scary about it, not the scary teacher.
That's such a good observation and a good twist on a story, right? Like, because the story sets up a trajectory of the expectation that someone's going to be in trouble, and that's the fear, you know. Having that like pivot at the end is such a satisfying way to fulfill an expectation, but fulfill it in a way for a reader that they haven't anticipated, you know. And it's a relatable feling that like the shock of doing something being like, that's not me, that's not how I am.
And that part, I didn't even write that down. I thought of it later as people were starting to share their work. It wasn't part, you know, so that it was just happened. It was a post comic, like PS or something. So anyway, fun exercise.
Thanks, Nancy. Thanks so much. Your inner demon. I like that. Demon. Here's Susanna next. Hi, Susanna.
So I shared the memory of my childhood cat, Hocus Pocus, and Hocus Pocus was a killer. She was a really badass hunter. She could sometimes bring in multiple animals in one day, and we'd always know it was spring because Hocus Pocus would jump into the kitchen window with birds in her mouth, and the birds would be dead. So my icon is the dead bird, and just the sort of flopped wings and feathers, and then the cat in the window. This one, I'm still trying to figure out how to do longer parts of the story, and this is actually my current cat, Drip, scrambling up the fence, and Hocus Pocus would scramble up the fence on the ivy. So I guess I'd somehow work this into a later version. And this is the pooper scooper. My dad got us pooper scooper so that we could scoop up the dead animals and put them in burial site, which was just a patch of ivy. And then this is Drip, my current cat. And I didn't miss a beat. I got the pooper scooper ahead of time, ordered it on Amazon before Drip even started to kill birds. And then on the first, you know, like you could just, there was just this one day, like a week ago, and it was like Drip just discovered bird killing and she got 4 in a day. And so this is the bird that she left outside, and then the other 3 were inside. And well, the pooper scooper was very useful. And so yeah, you can, the bird icons, that's pretty much my only icon, I think, is the dead bird.
That spread, that second spread has like so much great movement in it. Like the way you draw is so like there's so much energy in there. I love that sequence of it almost feels like a similar, like the same bird almost tumbling or something. It really creates a lot of continuity between these separate sad dead birds.
Awesome. Thanks, Susanna.
Thank you.
Right, we'll go to Gabriel next. Let's see.
Hey, everybody.
Hey.
So, just a trigger warning for everybody. The memory that I'm about to share is a little scary. I'm sorry I couldn't come up with a more positive or amusing story, but this is just one that's been kind of at the front of my mind recently. So it's an early memory of watching my dad lose his temper, which just as a side note, he doesn't do anymore. But so it starts with me. Here's me with some kind of stuffed animal. I'm sure I had at the time, and it's me in the empty bathtub, clothed with a stuffed animal. I have no memory of what happened before this, but all I remember is right after something. My dad standing over me in the bathtub. He says, "Gabe, I can understand you making the same mistake once or twice, but every single damn day, boom, hole in the bathroom door."
Wow.
And that hole was there for, like, as far as I remember, like a year. And I just remember it's like, it was right next to our living room. And so living room is this place that was like full of light and full of life, like looking out at a tree. And it's where my dad and his friends would congregate and just talk. And just as everything went by as normal, I would just walk past this, this essentially reminder of this really uncomfortable thing that happened. And so I drew everything in Sharpie because I felt it was good for kind of bold lines and not too much second guessing. And so when I did the hole in the door, my original sketch was a little more jagged, but I just kind of felt like big red dot sold it all, because it's just like, it just was just something that drew attention to itself, and it was just there, for a long time until we got a new bathroom door.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's my memory.
That's yeah, that's that red dot, like there's this thing I think that happens in some comics that I really love, which is that an image or a color or some visual representation gets imbued with a particular idea, right? And I feel like you've set up this red dot. I mean, if you continued this story and you showed basically any situation in which that felt emotionally dangerous or where there was violence, you could, I mean, if you put a red dot on it, we would know, or colored an object red, we would know. So it's like you've set up this this kind of color as being the embodiment of a particular emotion or a particular kind of idea. And anytime you use it again in the future, it's going to bring up that idea, that association. I feel like that story does that really well, and the red dot is such a good representation for the kind of presence of something, even if we can't see it.
Yeah,
really interesting.
Awesome, Gabriel. Thank you so much. We're gonna
Thank you.
Yeah, we're gonna go to Zach next, and then Joseph.
All right. So mine wasn't on a specific memory. There was the childhood fear, and so I think the one that that a lot of people have is like the fear of abandonment. And so for mine, I chose this as like a child, and then that as the adult, because they're like kind of related shapes. And then mine's a story about laundry. And so I was thinking like, oh, well, leaves, but I ended up going with rocks. So as a kid, affection was like warm laundry, comforting, but relying on others for it. And then growing up means finding out who you can rely on. Even when that means doing the laundry by yourself.
Oh, cool. It's amazing. I would be so curious if you put different text to that. I imagine it would read really differently. It's like in this space where the text is allowing me to see what you're saying or what you're talking about. But you could totally change the text, and it would totally transform the way that I interpret those images. I think that was really cool. I also love the difference between the two materials. Is so like had a really nice fix on the page.
Thanks so much, Sam. We'll go to Joseph next.
That was great.
My name is Zeta, and I'd like to share my screen, please.
Okay, hang on one second. Okay, there you go.
Wait, is it doing it?
Well, you have to do the next step. You know how to do that?
There'll be a little green button that says share screen on the bottom.
It wasn't showing up. What is this? Is it screen?
The share screen?
Okay. I think it's working now.
Oops.
Maybe one more try. Yeah.
No.
Okay. It's working now. So this is mine. It's kind of a freaky story, like for when I was younger, but like now that looking back on it, it's kind of funny. I was at my daycare, and so I just this daycare place, and I had mixed feelings about this place. And I was waiting for my group counselor to pick me up, and as you can see, you guys were talking about like the panels being different things. So I did an arrow because they're leaving to pick us up, and I always remember they wore that hat, so I just made that. And I was watching TV while I waited, and the TV kind of has like some purple stuff around it because like I don't know, just TVs tend to capture my attention, so like I was totally focused on it, and so I didn't notice when everyone left. And the black is supposed to be like it's sudden, like nothing else, none of the other panels are black, just that one is like it's surprising, it's jarring. I didn't realize it until it's too late. And I was gonna do the rest of the thing later, but like yeah, basically I just stayed there the whole time.
Oh, I totally relate to that feeling. I would like even hanging out with friends or something, like at a restaurant, and it's like the whole world is just those friends, and then you realize like you're out in public and there's people all around you or something like that, getting totally absorbed, and then the shock of being like, oh, there's other things happening. I totally relate to that.
Awesome. Thanks so much, Zeta. Come back. We'll see you next time. We'll go to Mech next and Miles. Here we go.
Hi, everyone. I really enjoyed this prompt, but I tend to often rely on words more than images, and I'm also using my non-dominant hand, so my drawings are a little bit, I'll stop clarifying it and just read the story. So in my early schooling life, lunchtimes meant an outing. Can you see my post-it note?
Maybe go closer. Camera?
I'll put it behind it. See that?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. The bell meant the sudden appearance of my uncle. There he is, kind of looking like a ghost. Lunch was mortadella sandwiches from a nearby deli. We'd walk and eat, paying no mind to the bustling Addis streets. It's one of only 2 memories I have of school in Addis Ababa, an entire world of mortadella sandwiches.
Yeah, cool.
That's it.
Oh, I, I love how minimal the whole thing was and still really like enhance the text. I think I love the idea of just an uncle just appearing like a ghost too, like popping into existence, you know.
Well, thanks so much, Mac. We'll go to
So
Miles.
cool.
So you can't see my icons up here because they're really tiny, but um, my story was about the time that I was in the lake and I strapped myself to a kneeboard and then I flipped over. Uh, so that's the
Wow.
first one. No, this is the first one. Sorry, it's backward. You see me with my kneeboard and I'm sitting upright. I did my little flip because I've been doing a lot of clicking on design software, and that's like the icon they use for flipping.
Ah.
I like it kind of matches the other shapes too. And then this is me upside down, and you can see the little exclamation point and the concerned face because I was like, oh, I don't know how I'm gonna get myself out of this situation. This is just the beach. I was like in really close to the shore, like probably like a foot and a half of water. And like all of my older siblings, and I'm pretty sure my mom was like there, but like everybody was doing their own thing. And I was just kind of like hanging out under the water for a minute, like, oh, this is gonna be really dumb if I drink. But eventually I pulled my knees out and I got myself flipped over. And I was just like, okay, whatever. I went about my day. But I remember telling someone the story recently, so that's why um I liked how it ended up looking like the sort of signs that you see at a beach.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. I like how simply that like just flipping the character and creating the kind of almost like the ripple above it, and then showing this using that as the surface of the water. It feels very like a clever way to show that absence. Really cool.
I like the layering too, right? Like one color over another is
Yeah,
the
I've been doing that a lot. So that's fine. I just try not to use too many. I just grab whatever I have and try not to use too many. But it's nice to get a couple more colors.
nice, Miles. Thanks. We'll go to Christian and Jamie. You got time for two more, Finn?
Yep.
All right. If
I
Christian
don't really have, to be honest, I don't really have anything in particular. I didn't even try. I tried to finish the comic, but I didn't finish. I can't finish it yet.
Okay, well, share it in the chat is a place to share. So go ahead and share it that way, okay? And we'll go to Jamie next if Jamie's ready. I see Sirhand over there. Oh my gosh, I haven't seen Sirhand in years. Here we go to Jamie.
Hi. Okay. Well, oh wait. Oh God damn it. Gosh darn it. Gosh darn it. I know. PG-13. Hold on. Get the stupid background off. Lower hand. Oh, don't lower your hand. Oh God. Tom,
Jamie,
it's
you want to come back?
Yeah, I don't know. Go get someone else.
Okay, we'll go to Sirhand.
Sorry, I'm trying so hard.
Oh, wait. Oh, we lost Jamie.
Here,
We'll
wait. Here.
We'll come to you last, Jamie. We won't
Okay,
leave-
thank you. Thank you. I'm so sorry.
Okay, hear me?
Yeah, we can.
All right, I'm gonna switch cameras.
Whoa.
Can you? Oh, there we go. Oh, I gotta turn off blur. God dang it. Sorry about that.
We all met on.
Oh wait, right there.
I think that's was vexing Jamie as well.
There we go. And how do I flip?
That's got to be real space, I think. Yeah, there you go.
There it is. So the memory that popped up for me was something that happened in Shanghai when I was with a friend, and I'll just read it to you. He was just there, burning papers in the middle of Shanghai, getting what little justice he could. And it was it was my first time seeing that, and it was a recurring thing where I saw people like doing what I found out was votive burning, which is like in Taiwan in particular, they have like this funerary custom where they'll make a paper mache version of something related to the person and they burn it. And this guy, he was doing something similar to that, except he was kind of burning. He wrote like a very strongly worded letter about how his mother got injured and the insurance company weaseled their way out of paying the insurance. So he pretty much wrote this strongly worded letter, and he just sat there in the middle, like in front of the insurance building, just burning it over and over again. The guy had like a huge stack of it, and me and my friend were just watching, and we're just like, is he okay? And the cop is like, oh, he's fine, we're watching him. But it, that was like a little cultural, sort of, it wasn't culture shock, but it was like, it was an opening to an aspect of East Asian culture of that's like their way of getting justice in some fashion, especially in a country like China. But it was, that memory always stuck with me about China.
It's so like nice and clear in this format too. Like really.
Oh, yeah. It was I don't know, it was like the only thing I had to work with was fire. So I was just like, okay, that's the focal point. I got to make this work.
Awesome.
But, all right, let me switch back to
thanks, Sir Hen.
No problem.
It's so nice to see you and hear you.
Yeah.
In touch.
Mm-hmm.
Where are you calling from?
Oh, I'm in Massachusetts, but I'm going to be leaving in July again. I'm moving to Vietnam.
Nice. Okay. Keep Skyping in from there. Keep zooming in.
Okay.
From there. Okay. Gotta go finish up with Jamie here.
Okay. Hi. Okay, so it's so great to be here. And yeah, I now join the class at 5 p.m. and then go back to work. So if it looks like I'm here early, I'm not. But I jumped in right before you said the panel thing, and I was like, I don't know. I didn't even know you had to do your own memory. So I just wrote something really quick about something that happened today. I got the haircut. I had to pay my chick more than I thought. So I had to bring her more money back with one of the dogs I was walking. And he wouldn't go down the stairs because they had rubber, like, don't fall on this shit stair stuff on it. So he barks at this little kid, and the little kid goes flying backwards on this fence of shit that's around this tree, right? And the fence looks like the fence from The Omen when they push someone. No one knows The Omen now because I'm old. But anyway, there's a big scene when somebody goes flying out a window and they land on a fence, and it's an arrow of wrought iron, and that person is 100% dead. So the first thing I think this afternoon is, holy shit, I just killed a kid, because he's going to get impaled by this tiny fence around this tree that's arrows of wrought iron. And then I realized he just bounces back. Like, I know kids bounce back, but I mean, this kid, he just went, whoa! And then he went, all right. And his mom and his brother helped him up, and he was okay. And it's because there were these little orbs. There were these little round orbs on the top of the arrows that could have impaled and killed him. So here he is, and he's like, ow, the dog's barking, ruff, ruff, ruff. And he's like, ah, and it's this horrible moment. And I think he's dead. And I think I did it, right? Because I didn't control the dog because I'm trying to pay my dumb hairdresser. And then he gets stabbed in the butt with it. But because it has this little orb on it, his butt's okay. His thigh's okay. It's fine. His mom picks him up. That's her hands picking him up, whatever. It's not that abstract. I know. I came in late. And then he immediately, like a kid, he and his brother are distracted by the idea that they're going to just refill their water pistols and shoot each other and run away from the dog. So it's like, yeah, we got to get out of here. We got to go play. And they immediately forgot about it. And the only one that was remembering it was me and the dog. And maybe the dog not even, because he's going to forget it 10 seconds later. So only me would, and if it was me, I would have been there crying and it would have ruined my whole life. But the kid popped up and he just went and played. And that's what I wanted to share tonight, even though it's in pencil and it kind of looks like crap. Thanks for having me and having this great workshop. It was wonderful. I appreciate being here so much. Love you.
Thanks, Jamie.
Such a great story.
Thanks. That's a lot. All right, lowering your hand, backing out now. Thank you. Bye-bye.
What a Finn. All right. Thanks, Jamie. Finn, thanks so much. My God, what great stories you got out of you. We went long.
It's I feel like many people did the exercise more fully than I did. I think I wanted to say that I kind of enjoy the story that I started. So I think I'll try and I've got some time at home with a sick kiddo today. So I'll probably just make some drawings with him. But I'll post it on Instagram when I finish it. But thank you guys so much for sharing, and I made notes about this exercise as I was doing this, to kind of like, yeah, give me a whole bunch of ideas. I always really love coming and working with everyone here.
Yeah, and you do great exercise books too. I've got 2 of them. I love them a lot. And we got to get them so we can get them to American audiences, because postage is so hard right now. But you got to share. You got to tell us how we can get them if it's easy.
My website is down at the moment, but I just put them up when it's back up, and hopefully it'll just be a couple of weeks. But there's usually a link you can just download a PDF. But I also have a little shop where you can nab them. They look like this. They're like these little books. But yeah, at the moment my website's down, so I gotta make time to sort that. Yeah. But yeah, and when it's up, you can grab the PDF for free.
Awesome. All right, I'm going to ask everybody to unmute. I'm going to go to gallery view. Finn, thanks so much. Definitely come back. We really appreciate it. We got so many great stories out of this.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank
you. Great stuff tonight, everyone.
Thank you. Hold up. I have a story to.
Christian, put it in the chat or share it on Instagram. It's late.
Okay.
All right. Bye, everybody. Thank you so much.
Thanks, guys. Thank you so much.
Thanks again. See you next week.
See you next week.
This is always the most embarrassing part, Tom.
Great, keep going.
Lovely and flattering. It makes me feel very uncomfortable.